The humid air of Albert Park on the morning of March 8, 2026 was shattered by the first official race roar of the largest regulation overhaul in history. In this first official test of a massive 24-race calendar, we witnessed how billion-dollar engineering dreams collided with the harsh reality on track. The epic duel between Mercedes and Ferrari wasn't just a battle for position, it was a clash of two different philosophies. We defined this weekend as hope and chaos, because while the wheel-to-wheel action between the paddock's most talented drivers gave us hope, the uncertainty created by technical issues heralded the chaos. But the most important lesson was this: the gap isn't 45 seconds as expected. Ferrari's start genius, Mercedes' battery endurance, and the massive struggle in the midfield. Today, we aren't just dissecting a race, we are declassifying the new DNA of Formula One. Get ready to exit the pits in the smartest and best prepared fashion, because 2026 is no longer a hypothetical, it's a reality right in the middle of the track. This race was the first and loudest answer to the question, who will be the new king of the paddock? The biggest drama of the race began before the red lights even went out, during the formation lap. Following the pathetic launch attempts in practice, we saw how massive an advantage Ferrari had gained in the actual race. Charles Leclerc stunned the field with an incredible launch from fourth, effectively pinning his rivals to the ground to take the lead, while Mercedes drivers George Russell and Kimi Antonelli were practically trapped on the grid. Russell explained the technical fiasco over the radio after the race, stating, "We had zero battery getting to the line, we couldn't spool up." It appears Ferrari focused on instantaneous power output and that initial 10-second turbo response over the winter, while Mercedes prioritized long-term battery deployment. Lando Norris's much-discussed poor start and the close call between Liam Lawson and Franco Colapinto proved that 2026 starts are no longer just about reflexes, they are a battle of energy management and nerves. While the FIA's additional 5-second preparation window ensures safety, it won't be enough to change the iconic and dangerous nature of Formula One. Sometimes it will be unsafe, because that is what F1 is. This new energy deployment system, which Charles Leclerc famously compared to a mushroom boost from Mario Kart, delivered a much more enjoyable yet controversial race at Albert Park than expected. The overtake button, combined with the small and agile profile of the 2026 cars, allowed drivers to go neck-to-neck on the straights, creating a fantastic visual spectacle. The clean yet aggressive defensive battles between Russell and Leclerc kept fans glued to their screens until the VSC. Despite Russell's slight understeer on corner entry, it was clear that the defensive and offensive maneuvers were highly manual and driver-centric. While some critics label this system as manufactured, the strategy drivers used to decide where and when to deploy this button has added a new layer of intelligence to the sport. This new agility successfully enhanced the racing quality, even on a tight circuit like Albert Park. Drivers were able to harass each other even deep into the corners. The most critical point of the race was yet another classic and almost traditional Ferrari strategic blunder. By failing to pit both cars under the VSC, Ferrari handed the victory to Mercedes on a silver platter. Looking at the raw pace, however, the top four teams were incredibly close. Lewis Hamilton was the most consistent driver in the paddock and at one point, the fastest man on track. Mercedes' surprising superiority in tyre degradation, combined with Ferrari's strategic weakness, made the podium inevitable for the Silver Arrows. Ferrari threw away the massive advantage they gained at the start, with indecisiveness on the pit wall. Had Ferrari executed a double stack under the virtual safety car, we might be talking about a completely different winner today. This parity between Scarlet and Silver gives us massive competition hope for the rest of the 2026 season. Mercedes might have been fastest in qualifying, but the breath of Ferrari on their necks never ceased during race trim. The real hero of the day and the new talk of the paddock was undoubtedly Arvid Lindblad. Beyond scoring points in his debut, his predatory, feisty and fearless style reminded us of Max Verstappen's famous rookie days back in 2015. Fighting for every position and giving no quarter in defense, this kid showed the world exactly what he can do in that RB seat. Max Verstappen, meanwhile, delivered an absolute overtaking masterclass coming from the back of the grid. However, Red Bull's true problem emerged in the final stint. Max fell away from the leader's pace, and it was clear that the car hasn't yet fully harmonized its aero with the complex 2026 flow structures. Audi and Alpine scoring points, along with Oliver Behrman's mature performance, prove just how fragile the midfield hierarchy is. Fernando Alonso's nasty first-lap overtake in the Honda-powered Aston Martin proved that experience is still invaluable, despite the looming reliability issues. Let's flip to the dark, dangerous side that needs an urgent fix: qualifying. Seeing F1 cars drop to 60 km/h on the straights just to recharge their batteries isn't just weird, it's an incredibly amateur and dangerous look for new fans. no greater damage could be done to F1's image as a fast, elite technological marvel. Having an F1 car enter recharge mode on the straights where it should be at its absolute peak is an unacceptable engineering constraint. In the race, this can be somewhat tolerated via lifting and coasting, but in qualifying, preventing a driver from giving 100% goes against the very spirit of the sport. The FIA must act before these slowdown scenes turn into a full-blown safety crisis or serious accidents at tracks like Monza or Spa. The qualifying format needs to be rethought from the ground up to match the character of these new power units, otherwise F1 will lose its fastest single-lap magic forever. Interestingly, the 2026 cars surprised us regarding dirty air and left a smile on our faces. We saw drivers staying incredibly close even through the exits of turns 9 and 10 sections where following used to be nearly impossible, and the chase continued even into the tight Sector 3. We saw action in Turn 1, Turn 3 and even Turn 11, spots where overtaking was previously unthinkable. This means a track like Albert Park, notoriously difficult for passing, has become more accessible for drivers. While there's concern that this might worsen as cars evolve and more aerodynamic winglets are added, the regulation's goal of followability seems to have landed for now. Dirty air isn't gone, but at least it grants drivers the opportunity to attack. The agile nature of these new-gen cars earned high marks even from the most veteran pilots in the paddock. Although Mercedes was the biggest winner of the weekend, the fine line behind this victory is critical. Mercedes's battery management was significantly more stable than its rivals in the final 15 laps. While Ferrari's instant boost strategy worked at the start, Mercedes's efficiency-oriented software took over as tyres degraded and battery cycles increased. Lewis Hamilton's immense pace in the middle of the race was proof that the Mercedes power unit is the most refined unit in the 2026 regulations. However, Mercedes's speed isn't just in the engine. The new camber angle on the front wing and the straightless design that minimizes drag on the straights played a huge role. Mercedes might be the fastest on the grid right now, but Ferrari's cunning start superiority and McLaren's late race surge show that the Silver Arrows won't have it easy this season. Mercedes's magic touch in tyre degradation could be the key to the 2026 championship. As the Melbourne weekend ends, one truth remains: 2026 has completely changed Formula One. Yes, the logistical chaos, battery growing pains and those weird qualifying scenes are annoying. However, the Mario Kart dynamics during the race, the dance of small cars in the corners, and the grid being this close together promise a massive future. It's a fact that the FIA will continue to refine the rules throughout this season. Once the slowdown issue in qualifying is resolved, we could be watching one of the most competitive seasons in history. Everyone from Ferrari's strategy team to Mercedes' software engineers is now in a learning phase. This isn't a transition year, this is an evolution year. The first race of 2026 gave us hope, but to keep that hope alive, the paddock must learn from those chaotic mistakes. Formula One remains as savage, as technological, and as full of surprises as ever. With the Melbourne weekend over, we've seen the new order of the paddock in all its naked glory. Mercedes' technical edge, Ferrari's start genius, the predatory entry of young pilots, and the unexpected agility of the 2026 cars. Yes, the qualifying slowdowns were total chaos, but the on-track action whispers that 2026 is on the right path. Do you think the 2026 regulations passed their first test? Is the slow charge issue in qualifying damaging the sport's image? What are your thoughts on Arvid Lindblad's massive breakout?